All right, Dr. Leona here. And let me check a few things before I officially start. All right, if you can hear me and see me okay, it's been a minute since I've used this software. So if you can see me okay, just confirm that. If not, I'm just going to assume that everything is okay. All right, I just tested myself. All right, welcome, Dr. Leona here. And it's been a minute since I've gone live. So I wanted to try something new. I wanted to do like a series called Ask Dr. Leona, where I get a chance for my followers, subscribers, and clients to kind of hang out with me once a week or once a month. I don't know how long I'm going to do this yet. It really depends on you. It depends on your engagement. It depends on your questions because I want to do this for you. I want to help as many people as possible achieve more freedom in their health and their life. So while I'm waiting on people to get their notifications and join in and all that good stuff, let me share a little bit about who I am. My name is Dr. Leona Allen. I am founder of Freedom Health Systems located outside of Atlanta, Georgia. I've been in business for over 20 years, about 23 years. And really, my purpose in life is really help people remove the physical, chemical, and emotional barriers to healing. And a lot of my clients that I work with are women, they're busy professional women over 40, and they've just spent so much time taking care of other people and their bodies, they had let their bodies go, and they're struggling with weight, they're struggling with blood pressure, they're struggling with diabetes. Even women that are a little bit younger, they're dealing with fibroids, PCOS, and all of these are metabolic diseases. And what I mean by metabolic diseases are these are lifestyle conditions which affects the function of your body. So if you're dealing with any condition such as diabetes, weight issues, the ones that I just mentioned, the core of it is because your body isn't functioning the way it is naturally designed. And I know there's a lot of distractions out there. I know a lot of women and men. I just really talk to women because that's who I relate to the most, of course. And those are the usually the ones that seek help. I'm now getting more men that are seeking help, but just know that if you're listening, the men that are listening, I'm not leaving you out. It's just where my heart is at the moment to really help women achieve more freedom in their health and their lives. But going back to a little bit more about me, I just been doing this for so long, and I've seen a lot of the confusion that's out there. I've seen a lot of the miseducation that's out there, and things that worked for you maybe 20 years ago don't work for you now. So just let you know that I get it, and and I just want you to help you understand that you're not losing your mind. It's not, you're not failing. You just don't have the right answers yet. And I'm praying that this series will help you find the answers that you need. So, what I did to the people that are either on my email list or they follow me online and saw the announcement that I was going to be live today, I did ask for some questions. So, if you want to submit questions for future lives, feel free to put them in the comments and let me know, because what I'm doing is gathering a lot of the questions that I've gotten through the years, because a lot of you ask the same questions. So the purpose of this is to really kind of consolidate all of the answers that I've gotten throughout the years, so and organize it. So when you have a question, it's easy to find and I can reference to you in the future. So I really want to organize a lot of the questions and concerns that I've seen and heard throughout the years, because you're not alone. Questions that were asked me 20 years ago are being asked today. And I don't like repeating myself over and over again. So it's nice to just say, hey, watch this video and all these good things. And then as it evolves, I'll have references and other information, because I love researching, I love sharing, and I love educating. And that's what I want to do for you. So for those of you that have submitted questions throughout the years and submitted questions this week in anticipation of this live, whether you're watching me live or joining the replay, I do thank you because I want to do this for you. So, just to kind of lay out the rules of what I'm going to do, right now, I'm going to do it on Friday evenings. We'll start with maybe every other Friday and then build from there based on the questions and participation. And then I want to keep them short and sweet, and I want to focus on one question at a time. So if I want to talk about a particular thing, so that way someone that wants an answer to that particular question, they don't have to hear a whole long video in order to get that answer. So this is really a project to organize all the experience I have in my mind, not just from personal experience, but also from clinical and professional experience. So this is going to be good. Like I said, I love sharing. I love talking about this. And I do love helping the women that I help. Like I said, I work with metabolic diseases. I'm also a licensed chiropractor. So that's really helping a lot of people with the physical side of things. And then when I got sick 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, I was pre diabetic, I was overweight. And that's when my practice evolved into more of a wellness center where now I incorporate functional nutrition. So I use healthy lifestyle coaching, supplements, laboratory testing to help men and women get to the underlying cause of their problems. So not only have I helped people with diabetes and prediabetes, I've helped people with all types of illnesses, autoimmune disease, cancers, prostate cancers, you name it. Because I find that once you get to the underlying cause and get to the reason why you don't feel well, and you can reverse it. But the question is, how do you do it? So the first question that I want to answer that a lot of people ask me is, how did I lose? Not only how did I lose 70 pounds, but how did I keep it off? And when I get those questions, I try to think about why the person would ask that question. And the person that asked that question is probably because they either have a struggle losing the weight or they struggle with keeping the weight off. And I would say that's the majority of a lot of the people that I work with. They either can't lose the weight, they're dealing with weight loss resistance, or they struggle with keeping it off. They're yo-yoing, they're going up and down in weight, and they just don't know what to do because they're confused. They lack consistency, they lack the information, and they don't know what works. So I want to kind of help remove that barrier so that you can finally see sustaining success, because it is difficult, but it's not impossible. I mean, I think I'm saying that. I think I have this shirt that says that difficult doesn't mean impossible. And that's the first thing I want people to understand, that when people ask me, how did I lose 70 pounds? I It's no easy answer. There wasn't one particular diet. There wasn't one herb. There wasn't one vitamin. There wasn't a type of exercise. There was a combination of things, and things happen in phases. So what I'll do in this to answer the question is kind of share some of the highlights and some of the pivotal points that really moved me from different points in my journey, and some key things that you need to recognize in yourself as well. And as we continue this process, and as I share my story, that might trigger some additional questions, and feel free to share them with me because I want you to engage with me. I want you to talk to me so that we can help you get the answers that you want. So, to answer the question, how did I lose 70 pounds? Let me start with how I gained it, because some of you feel like you have lost or gained a lot of weight throughout the years. Some of you just started gaining weight after 40, or after having children, or after you graduated from college. So also keep in mind, as we go through these questions, everybody is in a different phase in their life. So, and I find that as I go through this process, women that are in their 30, 35 and up in the perimenopause and menopausal area in their life or phase of their lives, things work differently. Our bodies are changing. We just have to accept that it is what it is. Our bodies change. So what you did in your teens and 20s aren't going to work as quickly or the same. And actually, some of the things that we have done earlier in our journey is actually makes it worse or harder when we get older. But if you don't understand that, you will get frustrated. So it's better off understanding what makes weight loss hard and how we set ourselves up in the first place for this, okay? So as we get into this conversation, other questions I got was about menopause, hot flashes, weight loss resistance. Goodness, I mean, there's so many ways, directions I can take this. So, as I decided to answer this question today, I just want to focus more on how I got there in the first place and why I lost the weight. And then in future episodes, I can talk specifically about the different techniques. Because again, I want to keep these series short and sweet, 30 minutes or less, only addressing one question at a time. So, how did I lose it? Let's answer that by saying, how did I gain it? Because I wasn't overweight in my earlier years. Not saying I was healthy, but I was not overweight. I may have thought I was, because looking back, I have done a lot of weight loss programs. Back then, Slim Fast was very popular, and a lot of those pills that were appetite suppressants were popular. So I've done those things. I've done the calorie restriction, but I wasn't even overweight. I guess standards of what a healthy weight is got to me, and I was trying to be this pencil thin person, but I'm naturally a stocky person. I've never been petite. I'm 5'9", and I have a very muscular build. I guess they used to call it thick back in the day. So just understand that we have our own body types. Some people have smaller bones and not as bulky, and some are. So first you got to understand what's your body type and stop trying to look like something you're not, because that was a lot of the issues people have, is they're trying to change their body into something that it's not meant to be. So number 1. So that's why I wanted to go into this, and this is going to build up to future questions. But I really understand, you need to understand that when you're on this journey and you want to lose the weight, I want to share this with you because you got to clearly understand how you gain the weight in the first place. And also, I want to share with you more about how it started for me. So you know that I'm no different than you. All right. There's nothing special about me. It's just that I just learned the stuff that worked, where a lot of you are still kind of confused, or you haven't found the right thing that works for you. Because I know there's a lot of techniques out there, there's a lot of diets, there's a lot of plans. So it does get overwhelming. Okay. So let's say I had a normal, adulthood like most of you. I went to college. I went to Michigan State, and I did the pizza at 3 o'clock in the morning. I did the beer. I did the alcohol. I drunk pop. I had M&Ms. I did not have a good diet. So, like I said, I didn't grow up this way. My mother, she tried, the best way she could. So she really did plant that seed because she was in the phase of her life where she wanted her children to be healthy. But I think it really started to go downhill for me when I went to Michigan State. I went to college and I had that college diet. And I didn't gain weight, but I did start having digestive issues. I started having skin issues, mood swings, terrible cramping. I mean, you name it. I mean, the stomach issues was real severe. I mean, I used to have those off and on all my life, but in college, it got pretty bad. But I learned to just live with it. Sometimes we have these problems, we have these cramps and these oh goodness, just acne. We have all these problems, but what happens is we're taught to normalize it. Take some Motrin and keep it moving. Get some facial cleanser and keep it moving. Take some, I can't even think of the medications that were out there back in the day. Pepto-Bismol, I guess. I remember doing Alka-Seltzer, all those over-the-counter remedies that were out there. So I'm just letting you know I did all that. And I did the cheap wine. I mean, I did a lot of toxic things in my college days. and it evolved from there. So I guess I had maybe 10 years of bad habits. And there was a time where, I guess in the late 90s, I decided to become vegetarian. And now looking back, even that wasn't healthy. I was doing a lot of the processed food. I was a vegetarian, but I ate the French fries. I was a vegetarian, but I still probably ate a lot of chocolate and cake and soy ice cream. So I just want to let you know where I'm coming from and start to think about your journey and how you got there in the first place. Because even though I didn't gain the weight, and that's what happens, you have all these bad habits, you're eating this terrible food, and you think that just because you don't gain weight, you may be dealing with a lot of symptoms, but you feel like, well, it's okay, I'm not gaining weight. So you keep doing it. But now looking back, I feel like my year of this high sugar, high carb, fried foods. I love me some French fries. So I did all that. And what happened is that really set me up for the weight gain that I achieved in my late 30s and early 40s. I didn't know it at the time, but I know it set me up. So here we are, college days, eating whatever I did, not eating the best I knew how. I mean, not eating the best. Yeah, I guess I don't know. I'm not going to say I knew it was bad or knew it wasn't. It just didn't matter. At that age, you just think you can get away with anything. Okay. So I guess I started making that transition after I graduated from college, in about that second or third year after I graduated. Okay. And then I started meeting people. I went to a chiropractor, and he was also an herbalist. So he's the one that really opened my eyes to the possibilities, because I used to get chronic UTIs as well. So I just had all these issues. Again, the terrible cramps, UTIs. So I had times where I just couldn't get up and go to work because of my conditions. Now, stay with me now, because I want you to start looking in your history and how things kind of add up and lead to where you are in the first place, because this had a lot to do with my eventual weight gain. So I met him, and what happened is he taught me a lot of natural processes or remedies to get rid of the UTI, because I used to deal with the antibiotics. I've done tons and tons of antibiotics throughout the years, but I would still have these reoccurring UTIs. And I'm just like, my goodness. But working with him, he started getting to the cause. He started teaching me about healing crisis and what I had to do to overcome it. So what he did was told me to change my diet, stop all the sugars. So I did change my diet, and I did the protocols that he recommended. I don't remember what it was, but I just knew that I had to cleanse my kidneys and my bladder, because my kidneys were failing too. I mean, these bad habits were going on so long that it was starting to affect my overall health. So once he started doing it, I did have this terrible UTI to the point where it was very painful. And I remember him telling me that I have to go through it. And that's another thing about a lot of our journeys. We're afraid to experience the healing. We think that just because we want to heal, or just because we want to lose weight, it's not going to be painful. It's going to be easy. All you got to do is make the decision. But if you have some discomfort or you have a hard day, you want to give up. But when he told me, just push through it, okay? And it was painful, but I had to go through it, because what happens is when we have pain, whether it's a headache or a UTI, we suppress it with medications. It doesn't make it go away. It just suppresses the symptoms, but the problem is still there. That's why over the years, they just got worse and worse and worse. Like I said, it got so bad, I couldn't even go to work. If you had a UTI before, it is painful. All right. Not only that, my kidneys were bad. So back to the story. I went through the healing crisis. I allowed the bacteria or whatever it was to die. And then I had this die off, and all this stuff was going on. And this was in over 30 years ago. So I don't have all the details. I can't think of all the details right now. But the thing is, after I healed the real way, I never had a UTI again. So I haven't had a UTI in 30 years. So I share that because we really got to get to the underlying cause. And sometimes we have to go through it in order to heal from it. Some of us give up when things get too hard. So that instant when I was like, wow, no more UTIs and I felt better, that's when my interest in natural health came. That's when I started getting interested in, wow, I need to start changing my habits in my life. So, around that time, I was, trying to be a better vegetarian, but I was still doing a lot of high carb things. And I thought I was doing better than most, but I didn't know at the time. Okay. I wasn't doing M&Ms, but I may have been doing some organic chocolates or something like that. So even though I was healed of the UTI. My diet was better, but it still wasn't perfect. So fast forward, I was, an engineer at the time. I decided to go to chiropractic school and learn so many other things. We do a lot of nutritional training in chiropractic school. So I continued to immerse in this stuff and just learn the anatomy and the physiology and how the body works. And the more I began to understand how the body functions, and not just with the spine and the nervous system. We learned a lot about deficiencies and the organs and the liver and the heart and just putting it all together. And I just became fascinated with what the body needs in order to function correctly. So despite all that knowledge and having all that knowledge, when I graduated and opening my practice, again, I was doing good. I was working. I did what I love. And then fast forward again, I had my first child. And that's when the weight gain started. Okay. So here I am. Um, gosh, I ate, like I said, I ate better than most, but I wasn't perfect. Okay. So I'm sharing this because a lot of people are having trouble losing weight despite diet and exercise. So I exercised. I had a pretty good diet. I wasn't doing fast food or anything like that. I was on primarily a vegetarian diet, but now looking back, it was a very high carb sugar. Even though it was organic sugar, it was that type of diet. So then the next breakthrough was when I had my first child, and I ended up gaining a lot of weight during that first pregnancy. And then when I was getting tested, the prenatal testing, I learned I had gestational diabetes. But this is what the doctors tell you: as soon as you have the baby, it'll go away. You won't have it anymore. But I knew a little better than that, okay? But I just knew the stress. My body was already under a lot of stress. So the pregnancy added more stress. So sometimes, ladies, when you are pregnant, whatever the weak link is in your body will show itself in pregnancy. That's why a lot of women end up having so many chronic diseases after their first child, especially if you go into that pregnancy and you were in a very healthy state. So for my young ladies out there that are, came across this video and you're listening to this and you plan to have children, really focus on getting healthy first, because it makes a huge difference in how you're able to carry the term, and it makes a difference in the health of your baby. It's beyond 10 fingers and 10 toes. You got to be healthy. I've actually helped women that had issues with infertility, and you know how I helped them able to conceive is by focusing on their health, cleansing their liver, balancing their sugar levels, and improving their digestive system, getting them healthy, and they were finally able to have children. So just understand that health is very important, and a lot of these programs focus on the result, the weight loss, but is it helping you get healthy in the process? Because there's ways to lose weight. Don't get me wrong. You can lose a lot of weight real fast today, but are you getting healthy? And how did I lose weight? Back to that original question. How did I lose 20 pounds? I had to get healthy. And I know that's not the answer that a lot of you want to hear, but just understand that this is very important. But as we continue the Ask Dr. Leona series, I will share more specifics. The purpose of this session is to give you ideas or help you understand how I got there in the first place. Okay. So here I am, 36, first child, about 70 pounds overweight. And I had the gestational diabetes during the pregnancy, but even after the pregnancy, I still had glucose metabolism issues. The weight wasn't coming off. And once I did some more testing, I found out I had fatty liver. Like I said, I was still, the gestational diabetes is really pre-diabetes. It was just discovered when I was pregnant. So if you ever deal with gestational diabetes, you need to look at your glucose and find out if you're diabetic or pre-diabetic. So I found out that I was pre-diabetic, and also with other testing, I had fatty liver. My gallbladder was in bad shape. My kidneys were in bad shape. I had tons of digestive issues. I had adrenal fatigue. I mean, you name it. My body was broken down. So understand that when your body is broken down like that, losing weight is the last thing the body's thinking about, because losing weight is a metabolic process. It takes energy to lose weight. But instead, my body was trying to handle other things. It was trying to save my liver. It was trying to save my gut. It was trying to save my kidney. So you got to understand that the body is going to prioritize. So when you're in this journey, you got to understand where your weak links are. Where does your body need help? Before you can lose weight, you may need to manage your sugar levels first. Before you can lose weight, you may have to heal your liver. You may have to heal your gut. Okay. But a lot of you are just trying to focus, you're bouncing around from diet to diet and from exercise program to exercise program. And this is coming from someone who loves to exercise. I was doing my Zumba and my spin, and I was running and doing all these things. And like I said, I ate better than most. So I get it. But it wasn't until I understood where my body was broken down. So in my case, it was the pre-diabetes. I had to handle the sugar levels. I had to get my gallbladder healthy. And like I said, my gut was, oh my goodness, I dealt with constipation. I dealt with abdominal pain. So what happens is you could have the perfect diet, but if you can't assimilate or digest, what's the point? So in my process, I had to focus on healing. So my why was important, my reasons why. So it's like, let me back up a little bit. So when I lost the weight, it had to start with understanding why my body gained the weight in the first place. And it had a lot to do with the state my health was in. So those things that I just mentioned. Then I had to research and find out what it took to heal those conditions. So my focus wasn't on the weight. My focus got on reversing the prediabetes, healing the fatty liver. And that was another question that I will cover in the future episode, is what is fatty liver and how do you reverse it? Someone asked me, how do you normalize your glucose level? So there's so many questions. And the thing is, when you start to incorporate and answer these questions, guess what? The weight loss is a side effect. So how I lost weight is how I lost 70 pounds was whatever it took to normalize my glucose levels. So what I did was change my diet. Okay. So this is where things like intermittent fasting and lower carb diets come in. I didn't say no carb or low carb. I said lower. Okay. So just understand we got to, and this is going to be another subject. Like I said, I'm going to keep these short and sweet, and I don't want to go into too much detail. That's going to be another session where I talk about, the low carb diet thing. But just understand that's what I did. I did a lower carb diet. And because what happens is when you have poor glucose metabolism or pre-diabetes, your body has too much glucose. So carbs turn into glucose a lot faster than fat and proteins. So I just had to reduce my intake of carbs to stop those sugar spikes. And I also did intermittent fasting. So I'm going to go more into detail about that as well. But what happens with intermittent fasting is you're not eating constantly. So as a diabetic, my body didn't want to eat 3 meals a day and snacks because you're constantly spiking your glucose and insulin levels. So that was the major, major change that I made, was reducing my carb intake and eating less often. So a lot of you may have heard of keto, low carb diets, But if you don't understand why you're doing it and how to do it in a way that works for you, then, you'll end up not having the results that you want. So a lot of these things happened at different times. So I didn't stay that way. I did it for that phase. And then I moved on to more liver health. I learned more about detoxification strategies because I found out a long time ago, a lot of us aren't detoxing properly or not detoxing at all. We think juicing is detoxing. We think putting our foot in a bath is detoxing. We may think that sitting in a sauna is detoxing, but there's so much more to that. We have to understand detoxing at a cellular level. So the thing is, we're not getting enough information, and a lot of people are out there just giving you a partial story. And I'm here to tell you that there is so much that we don't know. You don't know what you don't know. That's the problem. And I was learning as I went along. So I would learn something like the lower carb thing. And that's when I lost my first 20 pounds. And guess what? It plateaued. Okay. So a lot of us hit these plateaus and we give up. So that's when I was like, okay, I hit a plateau. What next? So that's when I started going into detox strategies. So, yes, detox isn't just increasing your bowels, it's beyond that. It was a gut detox I had to do, a liver detox I had to do, kidney, parasites. All right. There is so much going on in our body. Who's being tested for that? You may be getting tested for some food allergies. You may be getting some blood work, but it's not comprehensive enough. You got to understand what's going on. So I've done a series of things throughout the years. Yes, I've done stool testing. I've done hormone testing. I've done heavy metal testing. I was loaded with heavy metals. So it's like every time I did something, I did a parasite cleanse, I lost weight. I did a heavy metal cleanse, I lost weight. Now, I'm not going to share the details because everybody's different. That's the thing. It's like a lot of experts or practitioners, ooh, this worked for me. This will work for you. And they get all excited and they just say, I got it. But it may not work for you. You may not have heavy metals. Well, most people do, but you may not be ready to detox it. And if you do have parasites, what kind? Because the type of parasite you have determines how you detox them. So just understand there is so much to it. The body is complex, and we want a simple solution to a complex problem. And that's why I have to break these up in sessions so that you can get it. I can't tell you in 5 minutes. I can't tell you in an hour. But if you hang out with me in these little chats we're going to have, you'll learn a lot. I mean, I have so much in my brain and in my hard drives and my computer. I got so much information out there, and I just want to share it with you. So, let me know what you're learning. Let me know what you want to learn. But, the answer to the question, how did I lose 70 pounds? There's no simple answer. And what worked for me may or may not work for you. There's certain things that work for most people, and that is eating food, real food. That's another topic that needs to be covered because we're not eating food anymore. We're eating a lot of fake food. And your body is a living, breathing thing. Your body needs minerals. Your body needs vitamins. So even when I was a vegetarian and doing all this soy this and back then it was just a lot of processed health foods, okay? Organic cookies, a lot of these things that I was eating, but they weren't living foods. We have to eat to live. We need the enzymes, we need the vitamins, we need the minerals. That's what it takes. So we got to re-educate ourselves and understand what food is. Because it's funny, it's like when I'm analyzing my clients and I'm telling them, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be eating this fast food, you shouldn't be eating this processed food. And they were like, well, what do I eat then? And that's sad to me because we're so lost that we don't understand what health is anymore. And we don't understand what it takes to get healthy. We've gotten so disconnected to the foods that we need to eat. And I want to help you with that. We need to get back to the basics and get back to feeding our bodies what it needs to not just survive, but thrive and age gracefully. So losing weight is a process, but let's focus on getting healthy, finding out what our body needs in order to function the way it's designed. Okay. So, like I said, I want to keep this short and sweet. I know there's a lot of information out there, so I encourage you to just send me your questions, put them in the chat, or you can, like right now I'm in this software, so if there's comments happening now, I will check them afterwards. I don't want to distract myself and kind of find it and end up cutting this thing off. But you could put them in the chat, or you can email me at hello@drleona.com, and I'll get your question there as well. So that's HELLO at DRLEONA.com. Hello at drleona.com. And also join me in my upcoming workshop or masterclass where I go into some details about metabolic mastery. Because we need to understand, how can you fix and repair your body if you don't even understand how it functions? So join me at Metabolic Mastery Live. I do this workshop or this master class, webinar, whatever you want to call it. I do this training quite often, and it really helps to open your eyes to what it takes to not just get healthy, but stay healthy. You need to learn how to treat your body right. A lot of you are abusing your bodies knowingly and unknowingly. So go ahead and go to metabolicmasterylive.com and sign up for my next masterclass. The next one is this Sunday, June 23rd at 3 p.m. And I do these quite a bit. I don't know when the next one is. I do it usually once or twice a month, but join me and we can have a good conversation about what it takes. But you got to get the information. You got to educate yourself. I'm really here for the cool nerds that love to research and love to understand. So there's no quick fixes. I don't have any magic potions or lotions. It's really about getting to the underlying cause and understanding what your body needs, how it functions, and the body will take care of itself. So for those of you live with me, thank you for joining me. Please share your comments below. And if you know someone that can benefit from this, feel free to share this video as well and join them to the next live. So my goal is to get a community in here. We'll just start having a conversation, and let's make this, we're in the middle of the year and it's not too late to just start making this our healthiest year ever. All right. So thank you for joining me, whether you're live or in the replay. And we'll do this again next time. Just check your notifications and make sure that you mark your calendar when I announce the next Ask Dr. Leona Live. All right. So enjoy the rest of your Friday and your weekend. And until next time, go out there and achieve more freedom in your health and your life. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Good night.